So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, attack helicopters, non-specified human beings, nerds, hackers, welcome. Welcome to the creative and not so creative data destruction derby, the chemical and molten metal extravaganza. If you die, it's gonna be really cool on YouTube, so lots of hits. What are we going to do? Well, as we heard, it's a self-organized session, so we figured, screw it, let's get self-organized. It's a collaborative effort of, I don't know, 20 people. Something kind of got out of hand, so we have no idea what we're doing, which is good. But we actually do have somewhat of a plan. And it works. The program! The excellent program. We shall open up this extravaganza with the sweet and sour dreams of Anders. Woohoo! That came out all wrong. Okay. Once that happens, and what it is, I'll tell you in a second, we're going to have our hard disk go Fight Club. Oh yeah. Oh yes. So that's going to be very interesting by Ransbach over there, in that corner. And then, very impractical, but highly awesome Damascus steel creation. Or at least attempt at.
Second attempt.
Second, we have failed spectacularly yesterday, so that's good. And that's a number of us. So then, oh my God, sparks, more sparks, and one, yes, by me. And once we do that, whoosh, there goes my data, fully ISO certified. So we'll see. Any data recovery specialists here? No? Challenge accepted? No? Okay, good. And then, if you did not have enough of the extravaganza, then you can unleash all of your nerd rage in the medieval style destruction of whatever's left. Please bring your own hardware as well. Okay. Now, all of this, of course, supported with lovely analog synth noise by a whole bunch of people, including you, the audience. So if you want to make the music more awesome, move over to that corner and make it so. Music! Music, come on. Merp, merp, merp. No, never mind. Let's talk about our sweet and sour dreams. So what are sweet and sour dreams by Hans? Well, he lacks sugar. He's also sometimes a little bit acidic, sometimes bitter, but usually sweet. What are we going to do today is a very nice dehydration reaction. Right? So we do this stuff because it's dangerous, so you don't have to do it at home. Or at least, if you're equally insane, you can repeat it. We are technically qualified to do this.
Yes.
Technically.
Mostly self-qualified.
Right. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do an exothermic reaction. Now remember the word exothermic. That's our favorite word. We love exothermic. Because we have sugar. One contender, that's my button, contender over there, sugar.
And cornstarch.
Cornstarch,
which is just a whole chain of sugars.
There we go, because Luxembourgish people seem to love starch in their sugar. Beats me. In the other corner, we have our second contestant, sulfuric acid. And this is really nice and concentrated at 90%. So basically, you can spill it on your hand, you'll be cool, and as long as you start worrying, start sweating, and then you just eat your skin away.
Luckily, I'm not sweating.
What it will do is produce lots of carbon, and dihydrogen oxide, the scariest chemical known to man, responsible for more deaths than any other one. Jan?
Where does the sulfur go?
The
sulfur.
The sulfur goes to sulfur dioxide, which smells very nice. The other smell you might be smelling is caramel.
And hydrogen sulfide.
Hydrogen sulfide, oh, that's fine.
Tiny bit of hydrogen sulfide. Shouldn't worry about that. But
Okay.
yeah,
So Leon, just give them a second to get the camera going.
this stuff is really, really acidic.
It's nice and dark.
It's not one of the strongest acids, but still a very strong acid. On the other side, I have some bicarbonate solution in water, which is to neutralize if in case anything goes wrong, or to neutralize the end result. So if everybody is ready, because this really isn't sounding very nicely, I think. I'm gonna attempt to do some science. So bear with me. Here we go. Oh, too little, too little.
More is better, right? More precise.
And now it should work pretty exothermically, I hope. Otherwise you all came here for nothing. And
On the other direction.
well, that was mostly a caramelly smell.
It's a good thing you tried it.
Yep. So because of all the water escaping at a very low, high temperature, boiling, it expands and you get a nice carbon foam as end result.
And it stinks. Is it okay for your barbecue?
I wouldn't try this on my barbecue because I'll go and grab some pH paper here and test the acidity of this stuff. And I need some water, but it's pretty dark red. You can't see it, but this is very acidic. And now the nice part: what happens when you add a base to an acid? It gets all foamy. So, how was that for a starter? It's also pretty warm.
Is het heet, Jan?
Nee.
Nee, oh, oké. Nou, dat is voor jou hoor.
Okay, so big round of applause and back to our music.
Nee, het was niet heet, het was alleen warm. Ik wilde alleen geen zooi aan je handschoen hebben.
Zal ik even met wat papier eruit komen?
Next is de...
Moet je zien trouwens hoe lang dit lekker door blijft ruiken. Ja, even wachten. Daarom even
So,
wachten.
enjoy the music, help it. We need a few seconds to clean up because the next thing is quite a bit.
Waar?
And I don't say that lightly. That next one is interesting. Whoa, holy fuck.
That's what I said.
That's some foaming black dick. That doesn't look too healthy.
Ja, dit laten we staan tot het einde van de show. Ja, of daarvoor.
Weet je zeker? Het staat alleen maar in de weg.
Niet met één hand.
Roy, kan je mij weer aanzetten? Kan je mij straks aanzetten weer?
Sorry.
Just checking. Yeah. Oké. Paul, hoe ver ben je? Mag ik slides? Als je hem zou, hoef je niet te stoppen. Gewoon zakjes. Mag ik slides? Can I get my slides, please? Okay. We are fixing some safety because remember safety third. Rule number 1, don't be on fire, so that's cool. We're not on fire. Is he safe? Sort of. Do I have video? I have video. Oh, there it is. So, act number 2 is hard disk goes Fight Club. What is the defining sequence of Fight Club other than crashing the World Trade Center?
You don't also talk about Fight Clubs.
You don't talk about, well in this case we do talk about it. But the other thing, what did they do at some point? Lots of soap. Which reminds me, there is a lot of Sparkshack soap over there for free. It has not involved a visit to the local liposuction clinic, so that's good. But what are we going to do? We are going to take aluminium to an average nerd, also known as a hard drive. Okay? The most useful form of aluminium. Now aluminium is interesting, right? Because aluminium is all like really tough, right? It doesn't corrode, doesn't get nasty, but it has a big secret. It has a big secret, it's called aluminium oxide, and aluminium rusts really, really quickly, right? Within seconds, however, the rust it forms is super tough. You might know it as sapphire, right? So it forms a sapphire skin, which you can see over there. That's the chemical structure, physical structure, which just covers it up super hard. However, that skin, aluminium oxide, is also amphoteric. So in geeky terms, amphoteric means it's slightly bi. So it likes both acids and bases. It can't kind of make up its mind, it joins both. And when you mix it with alkali, the oxide dissolves, which makes the aluminium form more oxide, which again dissolves, which forms more oxide. And this chemical reaction is highly exothermic. Remember exothermic, our favorite term? Which means it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Paul, take it away.
Okay. Where anion used an acid to dehydrate sugar, I'm going to use a base. This is sodium hydroxide. This is as strong as you can get it in room temperature water. It's 10 moles, so that's like a lot. in a tenth of a liter, so that's 1 mole in here. If you have it in powder form, it's about the same volume as the water, and it's very, very concentrated. I'll throw it in here, and we'll see how much of how many bites will get lost. For safety, I have vinegar here because vinegar is an acid, and we don't want strong acids. Otherwise, we solve one problem with another. So we have a weak one, the one you can actually put this on your food, and you should be fine. So it should work with me as well, I hope. And you'll see a lot of bubbling, and let's see what happens to the hard drive. So, there we go. Very anticlimactic, or not. You never know what happens. Oh, I see some gas.
That's the moment you step back.
Yep. Yeah, it needs some time to get going.
It's already bubbling in the center,
Yep.
near the spindle.
So what you have to realize with every chemical reaction, the speed is temperature dependent, but not linearly. It is dependent on temperature to the exponent. So once it gets going, it gets exponentially going, and unless something stops it, it will keep on increasing, which is lots of fun if you want to get stuff done quickly. But if you don't want stuff to happen quickly, like you don't want it to explode in your face, then it's not such a good idea.
Which is quite preferable.
For example, in February we did a thermite experiment, and it took over 15 minutes for the reaction to get started. We did it yesterday, it took 20 seconds. to get started.
That's because
With a
in-
temperature difference of like 35 degrees or something.
yesterday it was 37 degrees, and I think in the afternoon it was still 30-ish. And when we did the last thermite runs, it was -2.
Yep.
So that was 40 degrees difference. And the rule of thumb with chemistry is that for every 10 degrees up, your reaction speed doubles, and that's like rule of thumb. So it was a lot quicker. It was 4 times doubling. So let's see how much bubbling. I see some bubbles, and I think the platters are still fine, so I think the bites should be recoverable. But I think it's getting increasingly expensive to get them back.
You
So
can see on the camera, you can see in the middle, that's where the spindle is. That's probably where the purest aluminium, the cleanest aluminium is. It's already dissolving.
yep,
Because the platters are coated with a magnetic layer.
yep. And you also see some screws that are in there here in the corners, where you see some gas forming. But this is the first time we try this, and it should work, but nature sometimes is more complicated than our textbook. So we see. And otherwise, we'll just wait for a moment. And if it,
Maybe we can get some exciting music to get it.
yeah, let's make some music.
Also prevent you from leaving.
That's the most important.
I see the value, it's good also.
Yeah. Okay.
Platters are turning white. Yeah.
There's some bubbling happening. It's not that spectacular though.
Can we get some light on it?
Arjan, you have some light?
Yes, we can.
Oh, kijk.
He is late.
Close.
He is late.
Nee, het is niet het logo's. Like this. Yeah, it looks quite harmless right now. Like dish soap or something. But we hope it will in the end fizzle out. And if that doesn't happen, we'll see.
So the thing to realize, usually people are very afraid of acids. Oh my god, acid, right? But acids are actually weak as compared to hydroxides, especially when it deals with organic material. Right? So what lye does, it will take your skin and turn it into soap. Right? So hint, hint, if you ever need to dispose of not bodies. You don't do it in acid.
If you need to dispose of picnic.
Yes. You do it in big batches of hydroxide. So the fun thing is that stainless steel utterly doesn't care about hydroxide. Right? You could just dump it into, doesn't care. So in food industry, so everything we've basically eaten these days has been rinsed with this kind of solution because it will kill absolutely everything that's organic, turn it into carbon dioxide, flush it away, it's fine. However, aluminium, as we are slowly
Hoping.
surely seeing, and I don't dare to come closer, well, until it goes past. The problem with this stuff is that if it starts boiling, which is not impossible, you
Nope.
might get droplets flying.
That's why I have the
And a
glasses on.
droplet of this strength hydroxide in your eye will instantly destroy your eye beyond repair.
Yep.
And you see people playing with drain cleaner because that's literally what sodium hydroxide is. We got it off the match in supermarket. You can just get it, YOLO with it, no big deal. Always, please, for the love of God, use lots of eye protection and gloves. Because lye you can get from supermarket is probably the scariest thing you can buy without trying real hard and getting on any kind of list.
Or eBay.
Do we want to leave this to soak for a while, or are we good?
Yeah, we can go through the next, and in the end we'll come back to this to see how far it has gone. I'll move it to the table over there.
So we'll come
you
back
can-
and film it later. What I do not want, you coming over to check it out and look at it. As much as it's cool to, I'm taking distance, right? So
Yeah. We love our
don't.
eyes and we hope you love
is
yours,
really-
so please don't come close.
dat ik de azijn pak?
Clear path?
If it's your microwave,
Yeah.
you clean it afterwards, and I get to film it and put it on YouTube. Yes. No, you seriously don't want to mess with this kind of stuff. You really have to be very careful. Okay, let's get some music and get cleaned up for the next thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, applause for Rafbad.
Sorry for the anticlimax. I'll fix this.
Dat wilde ik je net vragen.
Dat we moeten.
Jullie die kant.
Mike's, dat daar staat dus daar, hè? Dat is, ik weet niet of je dat zo'n goed idee vindt. Kan die loog weg? Kan jij die loog weghalen daar? Want dat, ja, die moet daar weg, want hij staat nu midden van het publiek. Paul? Ja. Je bak, wil de bak daar niet weg.
Ja. Waarom niet?
Omdat we hier gaan rondlopen, ik ga rondlopen. Hij staat midden, oh, die gewoon weg.
Ja?
Weg bij de stalen bord. Je hebt net iedereen bang gemaakt en laat ze bij Joel staan.
Ja.
Okay, can I have my next and my slides back? Connect, disconnect, reconnect. There we go.
Yeah, and we're already on backup.
High tech.
How many nerds does it take to reconnect HDMI cable? 2, 4, 6, 8, 16. Okay, good. Yes, laptop. Does my laptop still do its thing? Hey!
Woo!
Okay. So,
Space
on
bar,
to
please.
number 3. Impractical but awesome Damascus. Now we're moving away sort of from chemistry and moving into metallurgy. Okay? So, what is Damascus? Well, Damascus or pattern welded steel is, in the past, was a way to get really good tough steel. Because, well, technology was crap. It would break, so you would try to connect various kinds of steel together into like a sandwich, really hot and hard sandwich, to give it better strength. Now we do it because it looks awesome. Okay? So, what do you do? Different layers of steel, and you get these kinds of, this is a part of a blade. Right? So different kinds of steel molded together, just like candy. You know what, that has little swirls? Same process, except much hotter. How do you do this? Stack them up, get them really hot, almost burning, hammer it together, hot, boring, hard work. Screw that. Because we have chemistry. And not just any chemistry, we have our friend the thermite reaction. Yes, that's it. I see people, fans are here. So, what is the thermite reaction? The thermite reaction is taking your Fe2O3, which is basically rust, really finely ground rust, and you mix it with our friend aluminium. Again, very finely ground, very fine powder. You mix them together and you heat it up, so you light it. It needs a lot of temperature to ignite. But once ignited, the fun starts because it is very highly exothermic. Remember our favorite word, exothermic?
Even higher.
This thing will get up to 2,500 Celsius. Okay, so to give you an idea, your oven goes maximum to 250 Celsius. You will never dream about grabbing it or anything, right? That's just insane. This guy goes 10 times higher. Now, the fun thing is, this reaction has its own oxygen. So it's going to be a fire. And fire normally needs heat, fuel, and oxygen. This baby has its own oxygen inside it. Right? Which is really cool, because if you try to put it out, let's say with water, right? You can see where that's going. Oh wait, it's so hot, if I'm water, I will split into hydrogen and oxygen and burn even faster. So, no. Yeah?
Igor, how do you keep the aluminium from rusting before the...
It has formed its aluminum oxide particles, but once it gets hot, it will melt and start reacting. So, once we start this, we cannot stop it. Okay, so there is physically no way to stop it here. We'll need a lake to dump it in, and they're kind of far away. So, that could, if you cool it down really quickly. So, Paul,
Okay, I'm not going to use a blowtorch to start it. I'm going to use a reaction where I have a very strong oxidizer, which is, you can see it as a powdered form of oxygen. Compared with glycerin, you can find it in all kinds of all sorts of food. And it's basically a very long alcohol. The longer the alcohol, the longer it takes to start burning. So if I would take like normal alcohol that you would consume, some of you might have consumed it here, it will burn instantly. I don't want that because I like my eyebrows, so I use this stuff. And when I put it on, it should be, in winter, it should be about a few minutes. In this weather, maybe a minute, but I should have more than enough time to get away, and that's why I do it this way. And you'll see some bright light. If you don't like that, please turn away your eyes. In the end, we hope that in the bottom, between the two bricks, the metal will collect, that will make, because in the end we take aluminium and rust, and we have the oxygen jump, like Igor told you, from the iron to the aluminium, so we get aluminium, rust, and iron, and that's what we hope to forge afterwards. So let's see what happens.
So below the fire pot, there's a hole in it, right?
Yeah.
There is a square metal tube that's closed at the bottom, centered right under the thing. So we hope to collect the molten iron straight into the tube, which then we can forge into the layers. And we talked about the muscles.
And I hope nobody is attached to the flower pot, because it won't survive.
There is that.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, and maybe to add, so because we don't want this to go very fast, Paul has added borax, which is a common chemical, you can find it everywhere, to the mixture that should slow it down. In our test yesterday, we did about 5% borax, right? 10%. That was so slow that we could not get the iron to flow into our tube, so it got stuck onto the bottom. Now you have used 2%. So that's exciting. So this should. Oh, there we go. Nice. So realize this has been slowed down, right?
Fucking hate.
Do we still have a tube?
Yeah, it's there. The tube is there.
We seem to have missed.
The jury is still out if it's fine.
No, I think you didn't miss because it's on both sides.
Oh, so we overfilled.
Yep.
How much thermite did you use?
450 grams.
And in volume, that's...
It's
Well,
a
as you
little
can
bit over 2/3 of the flower pot. Yeah. It packs quite a lot of energy, as you can see. So
It smells nice.
that smells of burnt hard drive. Oh wait, there are hard drives.
I can still see it if I put it.
Yes.
I told you.
If you look to the tree, for a white tree, that was correct.
Ja, daarom zei ik ook.
Gaan we kijken?
Je kan hem eraf pakken. Hij valt denk ik uit elkaar.
Nee.
Die liggen nog die kant op, kunnen ze gewoon sturen.
So this is what's on the inside right now. Can you see it?
No, we don't.
Well then aim,
Are you still blind?
Oh, je hoeft geen licht bij te doen, geen licht.
Aim just away from it.
I see what happened. Okay, so we have a blowout. So what has happened is that our tube, is now solid steel, yes.
But on the wrong end.
On the wrong end, we have welded our brick. Write the paper. Ah, there it goes. It's a crappy weld. So we have created something. So it's bright red.
How many degrees?
This should be about 900 degrees Celsius right now.
Still.
It's still cooling down slowly.
do you have a light from a cigarette?
Yeah.
You can do it.
I have less hairs on my hand now.
Yes, that's should
Because of the thermal radiation.
Dangerous of smoking.
Now it's more risky than lighting it.
yes.
Way more dangerous than doing that.
So they're off to grab the welding of the forging water. So maybe we can have some music. So elevator music, please. Ja, dat is. Ja, dat is alles. Goede vraag. Zo moet. So this is a mixture of iron and oxides, I think. So aluminium oxide is very light. I think this is where the steel is because it's much heavier. Yeah. To give you a sense of how hot this is. It smells interesting. Yeah.
That's the hard drive smell.
Dank u wel. Yeah. Okay. Watch out. You can't do it. It's still boiling.
Anyone a cup of tea?
Sparkshack tea with sparkles.
If you take it out now, it should go.
If I can find it.
It should be someplace.
Yeah,
It's still.
it's well welded.
It's still hot. Let's just cool everything so we can. Yeah, you can get the music back on. Thank you. Oh, that's hot.
Everything is not even artists.
So, okay. Extra crispy. Yes.
Nee, we gaan er zo opstapelen. Nou, jij zegt dat goed.
Deze kan het net.
Ja, maar die kunnen we wel hier houden.
Zo. En nou. That's it. If you want more or not, you're gonna get more. That's the Sparkshack way. You want more? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, good. So now, oh my god, sparks everywhere because it's Sparkshack. So, what are we going to do? They need to prepare the next act because it's a little bit more complicated. The grand finale. So this is like the almost
Interlude.
grand finale. What are we going to do? We're going to go over. I'm going to go over there. You stay where you are. Please don't stand up. People who are standing there, say that. Can you just move like that, please? Okay. So the working table should be visible and nobody gets hurt. No. Like you really want to leave that whole concrete area. Yes. No, it's safe. Safety third. So I'm safe. I'm covered. You have a t-shirt and sandals. I have no shares in the burn hospital, no. Good. So what are we going to do? Good old angle grinders. You know them, you love them, maybe. If not, come try them over here. You will love them. Nice thing about iron is, the hotter it gets, the more quickly it oxidates, more quickly it burns. Now one way to get it hot is to rub it really hard. Right? That's why you use lubrication, boys and girls, for all sorts of things. You don't want nothing burned. In this case, we want things burned. So we're using no lubrication, and we like to have it slightly ribbled for pleasure, in this case, using aluminium oxide, our friend AlO3.
That kept the pot together even with the thermal shock of putting it in the water.
There you go, aluminium oxide, or sapphire, thank you very much, is extremely hard. Extremely hard. It's sort of, I believe, around 8 out of 10, 10 being diamond. So, you know, that's why you have it on watches, on your iPhones and stuff like that. We also have silicium carbide particles. Silicium carbide is just a fraction less hard than diamond. You make these things, you put them in this disc, you bake them, and then you put it in an angle grinder. Are you okay there? Yes. Okay. Okay, now, so what do we do? A disc, right, you've seen those, you spin them around real fast, makes lots of noise. A normal average household thing from Aldi runs at 11,000 RPM, which is freaking insane. If you had your hard drive that fast, nobody would need SSDs. Of course, your computer would just get launched as well. The edge of a grinding disc travels at around 80 meters per second. Anybody can do kilometers an hour? Oh, okay, never mind. So, when you do the grinder, it creates friction, it makes it hot, chips things off, they fly, and then they burn. Now, if you want to do like slow-mo light painting kind of stuff, now's the chance. Let's go over there. No, I go. You stay. Yep.
Please don't stand up in the first row because the row behind you can't see it.
Because I like to make it more fun for you guys, we are going to use very hard, high carbon steel. This is a spring from an elevator. Now don't ask me why I have one. Right, so it's that big elevator with shock absorbers. And this makes really hard, tough steel, which makes interesting things when you hit it with the grinder. Now what you saw is sparkles like on your New Year's Eve things, right? So whenever you see a line that goes into, it splits into spheres, that's iron burning, then you know it's going on. Now, just because we're in the lounge, and for those who didn't realize, we live actually here on top of an old iron mine. I mean, how awesome is that? So we took a tour today and find random bits of the lounge steel. So what else can we do than give it the final airy burial and shoot it into air stars? So, look at the launch.
Ja, tussen de hakken is het worst. Ja, zo heb je meer. Doe maar altijd.
volgende introduceren. Oh, we zijn er? Oké, ik ga dus dat je nog... was het nog een beetje te zien? Ik ging ze zo tegen. Ja, camera's.
Ja, ze gaan reageren, maar het moet ook even camera zien.
Okay, so we have an HDMI problem. Like, who doesn't have an HDMI problem? So now the big question is, how many nerds does it take to fix HDMI? Mini only works.
Oh, so it's a mini problem.
It's a mini problem or it's a mega problem?
Yay!
Okay, welcome back.
Well, the camera.
So, there we go. Swoosh, there goes my data. For the grand finale. We have already introduced you to our friend Thermite. And now we're going to go all the way. So, ISO 27001 says that data to be fully destroyed must be 20 to 3 millimeters. Please correct me if it's wrong. Anybody? Is that correct? Yeah, George should know, right? So it's got to be small, but the question is it good enough it's molten? I don't know, let's find out. So, Paul, on the on, what are we doing?
Okay, we have some hard disks here, which...
Light, oh yes, light.
On the table.
Yes. How does that switch on?
It's unplugged on the other side.
Ah, I'll switch it on.
Oh wait, somebody's going.
Continue.
Oh yeah, okay, you're gone.
Okay, so you can't see this, but
Trust me, it's there, yes.
we have some hard drives that were donated for us to do some science on them. And hey, light. So now you can see it. And there's some data on there that should be destroyed for unknown reasons. I don't want to know. This time we're using 1.5 times the amount of thermite we just did. I didn't put any borax in there, so it should be a little bit more vigorous. And it's like karate, where somebody tries to smack through as much wooden boards as possible. We'll see how much hard drives will actually give out before the thermite does. Again, it will be bright light, so if you don't like that, look away. And if you want to see the thermite afterwards, close your eyes in the next 5 minutes. So, without further ado, I'll use the same method with my alcohol you can't get drunk of to actually ignite it.
Maybe you can wait just a second so they can debug their HDMI thingy.
Oh, is the HDMI mini problem solved?
This is the third spare camera, so
The
hopefully
third
it'll
one.
work.
Third one is a charm. I'll wait until you guys have. Are there any people that have questions? Or should we have music? What's the idea? Questions?
How many gigabytes are you going to destroy?
That was terabytes, 750.
It's a lot.
About 8 terabytes.
Yeah.
What data are you trying to get rid of?
I don't want to know. It was donated.
What's a glycerine reacting with?
It's
Potassium permanganate.
Ah, okay.
yeah. So that's the oxidizer, and it will
We have an image.
What for a second?
KMNO4.
Do you only burn a hole in the disc, or does it get completely destroyed?
It burns a hole in it, but there's a thing that's called the Curie point, and that's where a substance will no longer keep its magnetic momentum. So everything will be so hot that all the bits will be erased anyway, and that it's molten and that it gives off a lot of light and fire is bonus.
And you're more than welcome to inspect it once it's cold, and then I challenge you to recover anything.
Well,
Yep.
Yeah,
how YOLO is it on the YOLO level?
Well, this is the 6th.
Over 9,000!
Last time when we did it in winter, I told people to stay away. They didn't, and then I told them, okay, do it at your own risk. And that one was without any inhibitor as well. And people saw me jump back, and they followed my example, so everything went well. So it's quite YOLO, but you are at the safer game, so it's not YOLO in a dangerous sense of the thing. It's more to see how many discs we can destroy. Yep. Yay! I even recognize myself. This is awesome.
Okay, let's go do it.
Yep. Everybody there, camera ready?
It's filming.
Yeah, your laptop can turn off your light.
We'll make our own.
Yep, there it goes.
Yeah, we'll make plenty light. Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Ik sta achter je.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, I'm impregnable.
Safety third, right?
Yes, safety third.
It's happening. Maybe you should look.
Yes,
Maybe you should.
please look at the pot with the last remaining head.
Oh, heb je er niet genoeg in?
Oh, er is een hele proef op. Dat maak je. Ik heb hem helemaal volgebracht.
At least it's not 15 minutes.
No, it's much warmer. It should be about a minute.
Yep.
Nice. I didn't hear any screams.
Roy, you can the camera hier brengen als je wilt. So if you bring the camera, you can have a look at it. Yeah, basically all the way through, I think.
Although the HDMI connectors might not be.
No, it went all the way through the side.
Better to zoom in.
Well, at least the top hard disk is destroyed, so we're at least at 1 terabyte done.
Nou, die onderste is ook destroyed.
Wacht even. Let's show.
Nee, maar het was wel. So that's a liter of water, a half a liter of water.
Yep. But to stop it burning, otherwise we just have burning plastic. We don't like that.
I like the smell.
Ik heb water.
Ja, ik ook.
Ja, meer.
Zakjes, doe maar zakjes. Ja, laat het Mendo even.
Yeah. If you want, close it down now, so it's somewhere near.
That's how much energy there is in this reaction.
I think we destroyed some bytes at least. Maybe even some terabytes.
So what are you going to do with the hard drive?
So,
That's the next step.
the next step. So, may I have my video back or my thingy?
Here we go again.
You plug it back in?
So now, ja, maar dat volgende keer met je bij hoor.
Ja, ja. We begonnen met 3, we zaten.
We'll know in a minute. We have the camera.
Okay, so that's, and then, so, whoosh, there goes at least one hard drive. Two. Okay.
At least two. The down under is gone.
The
Because
bottom one and the top one.
the good news is, the after party starts basically now. We have the music and it's the Unleash Your Nerd Rage. I will provide chisels, hardened, a large hammer and other implements. And you're more than welcome to come and YOLO the whole thing to pieces because we promised Mulling we won't keep nothing in one piece.
Oh, it was pulling is data.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Actually,
So-
I have to make sure that it wasn't too productive data because it's in the same block.
Whoops! So, if you want to come play with this, yes please, we have tongues. You need to hold things, you need things to your glass, and Bug Blue will tell you to fuck off if you're being dangerous. Other than that, come live your energies, break it, and thank you very much for coming to this